Welcome to the program produced by the students from the Iowa School of Journalism Workshop. I'm Armand Wilson.
And I'm Rayshana Collier.
Now here are the latest stories. With the hot and humid temperatures across Iowa, our very own James Wright brings you tips on how to stay cool.
Also, I have information on how and why social media affects your life.
And finally, the reasons why we are all here. Duck Kwan brings us the story of the Iowa School of Journalism Workshop right here at the University of Iowa. This special report begins right now.
Iowa is known for extreme weather conditions, and this week has all the heat and humidity it can handle. And with those unbearable conditions comes some dangerous effects if a person is not monitoring your own body function.
Dehydration, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke can take a toll on summer fun. James Wright has our story.
As river waters rise, so do the temperatures in downtown Iowa City. With the heat index reaching over 100 degrees, people are finding different ways to beat the heat.
Usually I wouldn't even be out on this type of day, but I'm with my husband and he's English and he's a little bit crazy, so I do come out for walks with him.
I know, I work out almost every day. I drink water and try to stay away from a lot of sugar, like excessive sugar.
For Hannah Russell, it's important to watch her health in the sun.
We kind of just take like casual water breaks every few minutes if you need to, or try and stay in the shade.
Water first, absolutely. But when it's really hot out, and you were mentioning like construction workers or people who are exercising in heat, a Gatorade or Powerade or some type of sports replacement drink is a really good idea.
Heber knows firsthand what exercising without proper hydration will do.
Like sometimes during the summer, like at football camp and stuff in high school, like kids would pass out.
I think we'd been to the beach all day and we were in church on Sunday evening. I remember being in the back row and I nearly fainted, and it was definitely from dehydration.
So the first feelings will be those of somewhat exhaustion, and it tends to be a little bit for different people, but also headaches can also be an early sign, and thirst. I mean, we do get thirsty, and our thirst can be a good indicator of what we need.
No matter what your reason is for being outside, AMAD offers this sound advice.
We were brought up to always have a hat on, to always have sunscreen on. It's a really important part of growing up in Australia, learning how to protect yourself from the sun.
With school starting for University of Iowa students next month, many are leaving the housing they are in now and moving to temporary housing before they can receive their next home. Many are throwing out old sofas and furniture while they move to their new home. Armand Wilson has that story.
There's a lot of moving going on here in Iowa City, with locals having little to no time to get out of their apartments. Here are two guys, Cameron Kane and Jeremy Hasten, that have some thought on how that's turning out for them.
I'd say that we were lucky enough to have the privilege to get moved in early access to our new place, so we won't have to be homeless or find a place to store stuff, thankfully, but that is always an issue.
We are the lucky ones that get to move in early to our new place, so it's making it a lot easier for us this year, where usually it's not that easy.
With the large amount of people trying to get in and get out of their apartments, many leasers are looking for any help and as much storage space as possible.
I have some friends that are helping me out. One of my friends, I'm putting it in the back of his van for a few days, so, just trying to make use of whatever space I can. Yep.
Not all apartments are in ready-to-move-in shape. In that in-between time of leasers leaving, work is being done for the next renters.
It's a problem. I think it's something that, from a landlord's standpoint, they're trying to allow for them to have time to, flip the room over to make sure that everything is ready for the tenant to move into on August 1st. But it does put and displace a lot of tenants from, their situation.
When it comes to moving, there are a lot of expenses that come with it. Back with the two buddies, Jeremy Hasten and Cameron Kane, they have some say on that as well.
Yeah, it takes a big chunk of change out of the pocket, but I don't know. I guess you have to move on.
Generally, you have to pay your first month's rent and deposit for the new place, and you're still waiting to get that old deposit.
Being in Iowa City and having to move out by mid-July and August 1st being weeks out can raise questions to other options of shelter.
Rise to hold some of my things. I have had to spend multiple nights at a hotel. It's been tough.
With so many Iowans going through this moving process yearly,
it's just a tough situation that I think, puts tenants in bad situations, and I don't necessarily think it's just a student problem. I think it's a student problem. I think it's a young adult problem. I even think at times, depending on your situation, it could be a problem if you're more experienced or an elderly.
this is Armand Wilson reporting. Today, almost every teen and adult have a smartphone or some type of social media account. It has become an essential part of our lives. However, there are effects of overuse of your phone and social media. Ray Collier shares with us some of those effects.
Social media is really evolving and changing the way people learn, study, think, and interact with each other.
Social media is taking journalism over. More publications and news, or they're going more to the technology side than the print side.
Social media expands the world, and as somebody who loves people and just loves getting to know people, social media has made my world even bigger and made me make connections that I really value.
A lot of people question whether social media is more of a helpful tool or just a distraction.
I could be doing homework. I'm on Instagram a lot or Twitter. It's just an easy distraction because your phone's always right by you, at least mine is.
It depends on how people use it. Twitter can be useful because of all the news accounts, everything that's informational, local news, whatnot.
Another question is whether social media has made the world more or less social.
Both, because when you're on your phone, you're definitely not paying attention to the people in front of you. But when you're on your phone, you're probably talking to someone who's not there.
Although social media may seem pointless at times, there are a few things that you can benefit from having it.
Media to promote their own work, how to use social media to make connections, how to work with video, how to write online.
We did a lot of sports commentary from live games from basketball, and it was pretty interesting. A lot of people liked it. It gave me a field that I could go into social media for stores, companies, etc.
It just depends on how you use social media. This is Rayshana Collier. Summer's not the only thing heating up in the Hawkeye State presidential. Candidate opinion polls keep political junkies from getting much sleep.
Our election expert Jack Norcross finds out why candidates running for the Oval Office spend so much time, money, and effort in getting Iowans to support their cause. Jack, what is going on?
Well, Rayshana and Armand, here is what I found out. 16 Republicans and 5 Democrats officially running for the 2016 presidential election. One candidate is standing out in Iowa and the rest of the country. With 99 counties and over 3 million people, Iowa is the ideal place to hold the caucuses.
It's nice and situated, it's a fairly elderly population, and it's a state that takes its time to take a look at different issues and make reasonable judgments.
Candidates from around the country come to Iowa to appeal to the caucus voters. A big part of any election is polling, which a TV personality, Donald Trump, stands out from the rest.
When I talk to people, I think the main reason they say is that he is different than most politicians, to put it lightly, either both in his style and his expression and even in his resume. I mean, you have someone who's never held a political or elected office before, and people are drawn to that. They're really fed up with Washington and even to some extent sometimes their state governments as well.
In the latest CNN ORC national poll, Trump leads with 19%, whereas in an NBC News Marist Iowan poll, Trump is in third place with 17%. Mueller's surprised to see how popular Trump has stayed since making numerous controversial comments.
Donald Trump, after he makes statements that can be considered to be outrageous, continues to grow in popularity, or at least maintain that popularity. So when he made some fairly derogatory comments about Mexican immigrants, there still was a segment of the Republican Party who probably feels that way and does feel that way.
For Griffiths, he says it is too early to be looking at the polls when it comes to seeing who's going to be in the White House for 2016.
I think you can always look at polling. I just think it's what you look at it for. If you're looking at it, who's going to tell you who's going to be in the White House in 2016, I think it's way too early for that.
But as a reporter, Griffiths finds it to be useful.
An opportunity to see, okay, this is what these particular candidates are drawn to these types of people within the party.
Next week, Donald Trump and 9 other Republican candidates will participate in the Fox News debate in Cleveland, which is expected to shake up the polls even more. Rayshawn and Armand, back to you.
3, 2, 1. Every summer for the past 63 years, the University of Iowa has brought a great journalism workshop to students around the world. Doug Kwan is an international student from South Korea, and he brings us that story.
The University of Iowa Journalism Workshop provides these students with great opportunities to become better journalists in everything from broadcast to print. I want to know about University of Iowa Journalism Workshop, so I searched some information on the internet. It started 63 years ago, and it has 11 classes, which include photojournalism and digital storytelling.
Sure, so digital journalism, it's a broad term, right? Because digital can be so many different things. So what it is we teach the standard journalism ethics and protocols about how to do them within the new media age.
We're going to go to a movie and we're going to do a movie review tonight, and we've been working a lot with WordPress.
I am the fun czar, and I also run the social media accounts for the Iowa Journalism Workshop. What I do here is I follow around the different workshops and I tweet, Instagram, Facebook, what the classes are doing.
I don't know other journalism because I'm also in one of the classes called broadcasting, so I talked with the director and student.
I teach different forms of media. I teach digital media, I teach sports media, and I teach something called media writing, which branches from journalism into public relations and strategic communication.
We do like online stuff, so like all of the social media and like the websites.
But learning in the summer, can it be fun?
Yeah, it's worth it. I think it's fun. I mean, I get to meet a lot of kids who have passion for journalism like I did when I was in high school, and it's great to see what other kids can do.
Very satisfied with everyone that's taking time out of their life to put on a camp for journalism kids, and I go to a lot of football camps, so to put on a camp for a non-athletic event could be difficult. I can see why. So it's awesome that they gather all these people to help out.
More than one student participates, and no experience is required.
The good thing is people who are here, they want to be here. Sometimes in high school, people will take a journalism class because there's nothing else to take. Because the class they wanted to get into was full, or because they thought that journalism would be easy. At journalism, the workshop here, people are here by choice. They want to be here. They're people who are passionate about journalism, or yearbook, or photography, or graphic design, any of those things. So when you come here, you are immersed in this atmosphere of peers who are like-minded. And that just in itself is inspirational.
Shows that camp is almost like an intensive steroid of education because of the great instructors.
What do I think about the journalism camp? I think it's great. I think that the kids who come here have a lot of fun and they learn a lot of stuff, and unfortunately it's usually really hot every time they come into town. So they don't always see Iowa City at its best, but it's a nice time in the summer, and we get to go different places. The campus is beautiful. We try to coincide it with the county fair sometimes, or occasionally there's like a Colonel's baseball game that we can take them to, and there's a lot of opportunities around here for the photojournalism students.
Camp is not just for the students. Schultz says he learns a lot from his students.
They're fantastic. You know, I love their curiosity. There's a lot that they teach me more than I teach them sometimes, especially when it comes to things like coding, app design. You know, there's so much more that they can teach me than I can teach them.
I think it's really interesting to put words on paper and have people read what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to explain to them. So it just gives you a little bit of power, I guess.
Journalists now have to be more prepared to do many skills than ever before.
I would say journalism is such an evolving area now. I would learn as much as you can in many different areas of the trade that you can. And you can't just be a writer anymore or just a photographer. Everyone kind of has to wear all the hats, and you have to learn everything. So I know a lot of reporters now are going out and taking cell phone pictures, and there's a lot of publications where photographers also write short stories, and then everything gets translated to online, and so people are doing short videos, and online stories, online photos, social media, everything's instant. Yeah, I know a lot of different stuff now.
Camp wraps up tomorrow, and many new friendships have been made as well as learning new skills.
And that is the news for this week. I'm Armand Wilson.
And I'm Raishana Collier. And from all the students and teachers from the Iowa Summer Journalism Workshop.
Thanks for watching.